so beautiful and so green, and I just love it. It's where I'm happiest, is out in nature. And I'm sure you can see why. Look at the size of these. That's only like 10 berries, and it filled my whole hand. Look at it. But they taste delicious too. Oh yeah, worth it. Just out here for a hike. Gonna see what I can find. Just picking berries. See if there's any other edibles around. Oh, look at this place, it's so beautiful. Got our first one. This is a lobster mushroom. It's a little dry, but it's not rotten at all. There's another one right here, just coming up. It'll clean off pretty easy. Wonder if there's any more. I don't see any more. Go ahead, guys. Just found this one. Not 100% certain what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and put it in a bag since it was already toppled over. Interesting one. I had thought it was a chanterelle, but it's not quite. It had a golden leaf on top of it, so that's why I thought that. For those of you that are going to comment, it's the wrong color. Some really pretty blue eggshells. Could be a robin, but I've noticed a lot of small birds do have a blue shell aside from robins, so it really could be anyone. But that's kind of a cool find. Normally when the eggs hatch, they'll discard the shells. So around here somewhere, there's a nest. I'll have to give these time for sure. They're very well hidden, so I don't even want to see them or pick them. They're all about this big. These are oyster mushrooms. I'm gonna pick a few though, just to add to what I'm making for dinner tonight. But yeah, they go all the way down this log. Way down that way. Perfect. And oyster mushrooms are one of the few that do get bigger if you leave them to grow. So see how small they are? They can get up to 12 inches. So I'm just gonna leave these alone. I'm just gonna pull off a little bit. Perfection. That's awesome. Look how perfect. So these are the mushrooms from the recent trip, and this one's still a bit dirty, but I went ahead and cleaned this one off just so you could get a better idea of the color of these. And they're normally orange to kind of deep red, and they look like a lobster. The color is reminiscent of lobster, and that's why they're called lobster mushrooms. and they have that white kind of porous flesh in the middle, and they can sometimes have like a seafoody smell, and when you fry them up, they do have kind of a texture I feel kind of feels like seafood. So what I'm going to do with these is just slice them up and then put them in the food dehydrator to dehydrate. I'm not going to cook them fresh because I want to save them for later use in soups and stuff, and I kind of like to use them that way. But I just wanted to give you guys a better idea of what these look like. And they have that kind of porous, bumpy top. And then there's this one still a little dirty. It was growing underneath, and I kind of uncovered it and dug it up. But I'll go ahead and slice this and then show you what it looks like in the dehydrator. So here's both mushrooms all sliced up and ready to go in the dehydrator. All sliced up though, I will admit, it does kind of look like a piece of crab meat. Or at least the artificial stuff like you get from the grocery store. Or maybe a piece of lobster. It's still absolutely lovely. It's about the thickness I got. Some of them are different thicknesses, different widths, but I'll kind of even that up. I found it doesn't really matter too much. This will also be my first time using this dehydrator, so I'm curious to see how it works. I only paid like $3 for it, so if it doesn't work, I'm not out much, but I think it will work. So here's our first level, and there's our second level. And in theory, we should just be able to take it, plug it in, put the case back on it, and then come back in a few hours. So depending on the model, I've had it take, my last one only took like an hour to dehydrate stuff. It was really amazing. So you can hear that fan going. And I think what I'll do is put one in the bottom rack and leave the top, and then see if there's a difference in the drying time between the racks, so that should be interesting. And I'll check on it periodically and show you guys what it looks like and stuff. And I'm really actually excited to have a working food dehydrator. It's something I've wanted for a while because I do a lot of foraging, so it's gonna be great. So it's been 3 hours? 2 or 3 hours. I actually will admit I didn't check the time when I started these, but the dehydrator heated up really nice. It got really warm, and that's great. That means everything will dry a lot faster. So you can see that the thickness has changed a lot from what we started with, and some pieces are still a little squishy, and like these pieces are crispy, so they're definitely done, but there's still some of the thicker ones that are a bit squishy. So probably what I'll do is take out these squishy pieces and replace the, like, shift everything around and take these pieces that are obviously done and go ahead and put them in jars. But this is what it looks like after a couple of hours, and the dehydrator is definitely doing its job. You can hear it running right now. And this is the other level. These were all the thicker pieces, so I don't think any of those are ready yet. But the thinner pieces on top are starting to get ready. And probably because it's so late, I'll be coming back to the squishy pieces in the morning, and then I can do a final tally of everything that is that has been dried and how much I ended up with compared to what I started with. So I went ahead and unplugged it, and this ran all night, and we're gonna see what it looks like. So this is yesterday's. The ones I pulled because they were all done yesterday, and they're all a bit crispy, which is fine, they'll rehydrate. So These are all going to be very crispy and a little bit hard, which is, it's probably too dry. It's kind of the way that I like to do it, and I found they rehydrate just fine. So other people might have different preferences, but this is kind of what it looks like after a full night in the dehydrator. You can see the thicknesses. This was probably one of the thicker pieces, and they're very thin now. I don't even know what that was. Just gonna take them and put them all on the plates, and then give you a shot of them all spread out, so you can see a comparison to compare to what we started with. I'm gonna put the plate up here where we have more light. So here's the plate with all our mushrooms. And spread out, it kind of looks similar. What they lost was the width and, of course, the weight of the water. I don't have a scale. It'd be interesting, be interesting to weigh them and kind of see how much weight they do actually use. But for just going out and not being sure if I was going to find anything, this is a decent amount of dried mushrooms. This will last me a little while. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them in a Ziploc bag for now. A jar would work as well, just anything that's gonna seal fully, because you don't want them to be exposed to any air. I'm still figuring out the best ways to set the camera. There. So you let some air out and then seal it. And it's important that it's a sealable container, because I found that sometimes things can rehydrate a little bit if they're not properly taken care of. So there's our cute, nice little bag of dried mushrooms. And these can be used in soup and pasta sauce and things like that. You would use them the same way you use like dried shiitakes and stuff like that. Usually I soak them to rehydrate them, and then I put them in stuff. If I'm putting them in soup, I just put them straight in the soup. So, nice! I can't wait to go out again and find more stuff.